Perfection isn't easily achieved. It takes hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Through their commitment to excellence, Sage Fruit Company has been supplying customers with the best tree fruit in the Pacific Northwest for over 3 generations. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide consistent, high-quality apples and pears all year long. Look for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
Are these hot? Welcome here to Sage Fruit Stage Show, where we've got drivers joining us each day between 4 and 5. Welcome all the fans that are joining us here, getting ready to make their way in here as we've got the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars on the racetrack here this evening, as well as the DIRTcar UMP Modifieds. Ton of fans making their way in, as well as those that are joining us on Dirt Vision as well. We're glad to have you join us, but I've got one driver who's a busy man this evening, so we'll get things underway. And a busy man this season, Buddy Kofoid, embarking on his rookie year here with the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars, made the decision, signed with Roth Motorsports for the full campaign. Tonight's the night. It kicks off your first full official campaign. Are there any preseason jitters? What's your mindset right now?
No, I feel good. You know, this past off season, and then, well, I don't really have off seasons anymore, but racing in New Zealand and, you know, going in the Chili Bowl, and even practice yesterday, I've just been super calm, more than normal. So I feel like that's a good thing. And you know, having, you know, been with Roth since June of last year and getting 60 or 70 races, you know, leading up to this, I feel like has probably helped me feel a little bit better and more comfortable, you know, just working with the same people. And, you know, I love the people I'm working around right now, and, you know, happy to have Toyota and Mobil 1 still involved. You know, I've been with them since 2020 now, so, you know, a lot of familiar faces, and you know, I feel like, you know, we came out of the box, you know, really good yesterday, despite having, you know, some issues, but, you know, fixed it, and felt really good, really comfortable, and didn't have to swing that much. So, you know, it's excited to get going. I really enjoy racing here, and it was good last year, and felt like I had one slip away, so hopefully we can get some redemption. So
you talk about that off season, which realistically speaking anymore is non-existent, right? There's no such thing as an off-season between Chili Bowl and, you know, a lot of good drivers that you talked about go overseas and race as well. Do you kind of miss not having an off-season and taking that mental break, or do you feel like as you get ready to go and then take on a full season like this, that almost kind of helps you mentally and even physically stay maintained?
Well, usually if I'm not racing, I'm pretty bored. No, I love traveling, but racing, you know, if you're in the car, if you're doing something, no matter, you know, if it's wing sprint racing or midget racing or, you know, whatever, you know, it helps you stay sharp. And, you know, anytime that you can, you know, be in the seat and perfect your craft and stay busy, I feel like only keeps you, you know, sharp, or at least good, or, you know, can help you improve, obviously. So, you know, I love racing, and obviously, you know, our off season is usually cold, so I get to go to New Zealand or Australia where it's nice and hot. So, you know, it's hard to beat that as well. But then, like I said, then, you know, right when I left New Zealand, I flew straight into the Chili Bowl. And then, you know, 2 days later, I was in a car in the States from New Zealand. So, I like not having an off season, so to speak, just because, like I said, it keeps me busy and keeps me racing, and it gives me a chance to win, or to at least get better.
And had a great run at Chili Bowl as well. I think one of your best runs that you have had. So coming off of that and carrying some momentum. And, you know, when they announced that you were doing this full tour, I almost had to do a double take, because like you'd said, you ran so many races last year. You already have 3 World of Outlaw wins to your name. So I feel like the rookie stripe thing is almost a little counterintuitive, right? Like, you've already proven yourself, but has there been anyone that you've really kind of leaned on in the pit area as you get ready to embark this? And yes, you technically still have that rookie status to your name.
Yeah. I don't know if I really leaned on someone, so to speak. You know, I got to build a good relationship racing with James last year, and you know, James is, you know, extremely smart and extremely good. So having a seasoned teammate, so to speak, you know, is nice to have. And you know, with developing this new Toyota engine, I feel like him and I have, you know, agreed on a lot of things, and we've worked really well. Just as far as, like, you know, if I'm feeling something, I'll go over there and he'll validate what I'm feeling, or vice versa. Or, you know, if maybe we're feeling different things, we could somewhat help each other. So, you know, that's a nice thing, you know, at least about that part. You know, working with James and working with Toyota has been a pleasure, and you know, I owe it all to Dennis and Teresa Roth for, you know, even, you know, believing in me and letting me do this. So, but yeah, no, leaned on James a little bit, but I kind of feel like I keep to myself at times as well and just try and go to work.
We, of course, have had Gio Scelzi up on this stage before. We had him last year up on the Sage Fruit Stage Show when he was the rookie. He's actually after you, and he officially gets to take those rookie stripes off. But there are not a lot of rookies that go into their season already having wins to their name. I mean, you had 2 of them just last year alone at Placerville and Talladega. Does that almost ease your mind a little bit, knowing that you've validated your spot here in this sport and you maybe don't feel as much pressure because you have performed already at this level?
Yeah, I'd say it definitely makes it a little easier, if you could even say it easier going into it. I mean, there's obviously, don't get me wrong, there's nothing easy about doing this, but you know, knowing that you have beat the best in the world, I feel like, you know, it gives you that edge or that confidence a little bit, knowing, you know, that you've done it before and that you know you can do it again, and you know what it takes to get it done now. So, you know, they always say your first one's the hardest one, and then, like I said, again, they say they come easier after that, but not that they're easy, but you figure it out. You know, obviously the more you win and the more you race with these guys, you're going to figure out, you know, what it takes to win, or that last 10%, so to speak, to close it out. And then getting to race with Dylan, you know, and Roth last year, I feel like has elevated me. And, you know, I've said it before, I think this is the best I've ever felt in a sprint car in my career, and it's because of Dylan and Roth and Toyota. So that to me gives me a lot of confidence and a lot of drive, but it gives me a lot of enjoyment to be able to do this finally, you know, at a level that I've wanted to compete at for a long time.
Yeah, it's got to feel good to feel like you're already gelling with your team, and like you said, I mean, you feel like you're at the highest peak that you have been at thus far, and you're getting ready to embark on one of the toughest challenges. I want to talk about the Toyota development program a little bit here. They just announced, you know, their roster for this upcoming season, and I was looking at the poster, and it kind of made me giggle because it's a lot of names in dirt that have either transitioned out of dirt but still dabble in it, and they also encourage a lot of their pavement people to race dirt. You know, you've got guys like Brent Cruz that isn't a micro consistently and trying his hand at dirt and that kind of stuff. What is it, do you think, about the dirt discipline that is so valuable that a program like Toyota kind of continually pushes it across all of their developmental platform?
So I've been with Toyota since I signed on with them beginning of 2020, but I was racing with KKM at the end of 19 when they were trying me out, if you will. So I've been with them now for, I guess technically it's the start of the 5th year, however it plays out. But no, they've been, you know, I've said before, they've changed my career, you know, in ways that I thought I've done things that I never thought I'd be able to do, like running a truck for Kyle Busch or things like that, you know, that was just really eye-opening and surreal for me. But, you know, this, you know, being a part of now Roth with the sprint car programs is something I've wanted to be a part of. But so going back, Toyota has, their involvement in grassroots racing is extremely important to them. You know, where they have that diversification and where they want to be involved in different sports. You know, 12, 14, however many years ago, you know, they jumped into the midget scene, and now pretty much in Toyota midget motors, the motor you got to have. Yeah. And you know, then they took a big step in the sprint car world, and you know, trying to get that going, and it's been, you know, really good so far. And but I think just the dirt teaches a different style of aggression. I've done, you know, a handful of pavement late model races and stuff like that, so I can't say that I know exactly how it is, but I've gotten to do both, obviously. And just the dirt is just an aggression that's just constant, and, you know, you can never take a lap off. And, you know, especially with the best, there's always going to be someone there. If you make a small mistake, you're getting past, especially with the Outlaws. So I think the dirt encourages maybe the pavement-only drivers. It helps them maybe find a different aggression maybe, and maybe they can apply it to their own discipline.
And of course, they're very big on, you know, not only getting you guys time behind the wheel, like you mentioned, and opening up those different avenues and different disciplines of racing, but, you'd mentioned it, there's no room for mistakes, so they really put an emphasis on the physical side of it as well. Kind of talk about the programs that they put together for you guys as drivers to keep you physically fit, because it's not easy driving these sprint cars.
No, it's not easy driving any race car, especially a sprint car. So yeah, Toyota, obviously they're very involved with driver development, and they have a fitness center called Toyota Performance Center. So if you're a Toyota driver, if you're affiliated even with a Toyota team, you can go to the Performance Center in Mooresville and you can either work out or get nutritionist help or like physical therapy help or anything like that. They have all the tools at their disposal to be successful, and I think that's why Toyota is, bar none, probably the best manufacturer to be with. That's why, like I've said, they've changed my career in ways that I've never thought was possible, and really my life in general. Coming from California and then moving to Indiana, and now 3-4 years later, winning a couple USAC championships and then getting to be full-time as an Outlaw is something that 6-year-old me probably didn't have in the cards.
I mean, it's not quite as warm as California, but it's expected to warm up here throughout the weekend. Fortunately, the sun has been shining. Last question for you. You got a couple nights of racing coming up here, this officially kicking it off. What are your expectations for this weekend? How are you feeling about finally getting that Volusia win?
I feel really good. Ran second twice last year and led a decent amount of one of the races, and I think we had like a 7th and maybe another 8th. So we were fairly consistent, but the first 2 nights we were second, so I feel like we came out of the box swinging. It felt really good. And I feel like I learned a lot here, and with Dylan and now being with Roth, I feel like we're going to be, I feel even better, even just in practice yesterday. And I know our speed's there. It just they're going to do their job. It just things got to go our way, but I got to do my job, and I think hopefully we'll be right there, and hopefully we can finally check one off here.
A lot of skill goes into it, but also a lot of luck, I feel like, sometimes to get through these race weekends. Well, again, thank you so much, buddy Kofoid. Again, we're looking forward to watching this driver embark on his rookie year with the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. We're going to take a quick break here on the Sage Fruit Stage Show, but we've got a driver joining us here after the break. Well, he gets to officially rip those rookie stripes off. That is Hot Sauce Giovanni Scelzi. He will join us here after the break.
Welcome to our world. A world of dirt, drift, and dodging fate. A world where all of motorsport collides. A world of digging deep, of grit, glory, and bitter defeat. Inhabited by the strong, the fearless, the barely sane. Welcome to our world. Welcome to the world of NOS.
You wanted the best, you got 'em for a breast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
It's orientation day. Welcome to the team.
Who wants to race?
I like this team. Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
This is my 2017 Ford Edge with 123,000 miles. Recently, it became sluggish with a slight drop in gas mileage. It was recommended I add seafoam motor treatment in the gas every few weeks. After a few months, there was a noticeable improvement in the power, and it's more responsive when I give it gas. Happy customer here.
To find out more about Seafoam products and how they can help your engine run better and last longer, Go to seafoamworks.com.
Perfection isn't easily achieved. It takes hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Through their commitment to excellence, Sage Fruit Company has been supplying customers with the best tree fruit in the Pacific Northwest for over 3 generations. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide consistent, high-quality apples and pears all year long. Look for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
Welcome back to the Sage Fruit Stage Show here right outside of the front stretch grandstands. We've got with me now Hot Sauce Giovanni Scelzi, and we were just talking, it's a little deceiving. The sun is shining. It's shaping up to be a beautiful weekend down here in Florida. It really is. There are supposed to be temperatures pretty warm, but man, it kind of got chilly quick, but you're still dressed like you're in Florida.
Yeah, I made a mistake here not putting a jacket on before I came up here.
Yeah, there are people out here, what I already love, in their Carhartts and their hoodies, and you rolled up in your shorts and your t-shirts. It's okay, you're gonna put a race suit on here a little bit later. But we had Buddy Kofoid join us just before this, and he's getting ready to embark on a journey that you're pretty familiar with. He's running on his rookie year. You officially get to take that per se yellow stripe on. How differently is your mind tonight getting ready to go for the first race of the season compared to where you were last year on this night?
Yeah, last year, I don't know if we could have started any worse. We took a provisional our very first night. So I felt decent last night. Last night's more of a night just to kind of knock the rust off me. I didn't race out of the country anywhere this offseason, just kind of took some time off. So the car felt good, just kind of shake everything down, make sure nothing falls off. We got a new car chief this year with Bob Curtis. So getting him acclimated, he knows what to do. So just kind of knocking the rust off.
Now this series obviously is brutal as far as the travel, the nights, time after time. You've done it. You can say you've done it now. You've got that experience per se. But what was the biggest, learning curve that you took last year that, you feel more equipped to handle this year?
I just think not giving up. When you run a pick and choose schedule where you're not racing for points, there's nights where you might go a lap down or be in a B main and just get your start money and pull off. But, those nights where you can turn a 20th place starting spot into a 10th, 12th, 15th place finish, that's really what makes your whole year mean a lot more to you.
And of course, the schedule this year comes with some changes, some new races as well. Yourself, I know, always looks forward to going out to the West Coast. You've got friends, you've got family out there. But are there any of the new additions that you're looking at going, okay, I'm a little nervous because I've never been there before, so I'm going to have to adapt to that? Or were there maybe a track this last year that you clicked with that you didn't expect to?
The one I'm looking most forward to is probably Joliet. Been to a couple drag races there. Looks like a beautiful facility. Get to run 2 nights there. Been to Sealands Grove a handful of times. That place looks awesome to, race for $30,000 to win. That's cool. But, the schedule's pretty much the same. Getting rid of the spring West Coast swing has kind of become normal the last couple of years. So going there in the fall when the weather's probably a bit nicer is a little bit easier for us.
I know people forget that it still actually does get cold in Florida and on the West Coast, believe it or not. So kind of branching away from the on-track stuff for a moment, Hot Sauce. That's your nickname. You've taken it. You've ran with it. Most of the time, though, when we hear race car nicknames, there's some rhyming aspect to it from either where they're from or something like that. Hot Sauce Giovanni Scelzi. There's no rhyme, so what is the reason? Where did this nickname come from?
My dad had all kinds of goofy nicknames for me when I was younger. Hot Sauce, Geostorm, all kinds of goofy stuff. But, it was, I had it a long time ago and I raced micros and stuff, but went away for a while. Then I think Dominic or my dad, one of them tweeted it and Johnny Gibson kind of picked it up and we've run with it ever since. So kind of cool, just something to know me by.
Yeah, and the apparel is awesome as well. I will say that whoever does your apparel knocks it out of the park with that. Again, Giovanni Scelzi joining us now here on the Stage Fruit Stage Show. Now let's talk a little bit more about your family, your dad, and then of course your brother. Big personality household. I have to say, I can only imagine Thanksgiving would be quite the interesting endeavor there. But your brother, every single time we go out west, and those that don't know, he races himself, of course, but always seems to end up in the Dirt Vision booth. Whose idea is that, and why does this keep happening?
Well, he's takes after my dad quite a bit, and I kind of take after my mom. So, he's a big personality. He's someone that's super witty and always has a really quick comeback for you. So, someone that's just born to be behind the camera, just like my dad.
Yeah, we'll keep him in the booth. Yeah. We'll make him be the commentator, because believe it or not, you get paid when you show up to the racetrack for that, and you can keep racing the race cars. We'll do that split there. The schedule, it's a rigorous schedule. It's a lot of races, a lot of different nights, a lot of travel, but there are some off nights. What do you guys usually try and do for fun? Are you looking for mini golf in the places that you guys go and do? I mean, what do you guys usually do? And do you guys hang out with each other, or you stay pretty inclusive to your own teams?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all of us, believe it or not, we're all friends on the road, and I think, you race hard on the racetrack, but if something goes wrong with a truck or trailer, or you blow a tire or something, the first people there to help you are people, in the racing family. So, we always normally stay around each other, whether it's a hotel or an Airbnb or something. We all end up at the same Texas Roadhouse or Applebee's or whatever after the races. So, the camaraderie is nice, and it makes it a bit easier racing an 80-90 race schedule like we do.
And there's a couple guys in the field, like we'd mentioned, a Buddy Kofoid as well, that is the rookie this year. Not a Donnie Schatz seasoned veteran, but you now, get to have some of that experience. Have you reached out to any of the rookies, to say, hey, okay, I've been there, here's my piece of advice to you? Or, has anyone even maybe reached out to you going into this year, either complimenting how last year went with some advice as well?
Donnie has spoken, highly of the season I had last year, which means a lot to me. It's hard when you're racing against those guys and kind of wanting to ask for advice. It's hard to kind of have that barrier between trying to beat him and, asking for help as well. But Donnie's been super helpful to me. Don't know much about Landon Crawley. I know he doesn't have much 410 experience, but I'm gonna figure it out, here at the fastest place we go to in a 410. So his dad obviously won hundreds of races in 360s and 410s. So he's got a good mentor in Jason Sides as well. So I'm sure Jason will teach him some off-track, fun stuff as well as on the track. So they both have good teachers and great teams.
Yeah, getting life experience and racing experience from that team for sure.
Yeah, he said he had a lot in common with Jason Sides. So I don't know what a 16-year-old could have in common with Jason Sides, but he might have a secret side we don't know about.
That seems like we need to do a follow around the Jason Sides Landon Crawley pit on Dirt Vision. So we'll get that into the works, and then we'll report back to you on that. So you were with us at World Finals this last year. You and I had this conversation, but of course we got a lot of new fans and faces joining us here today at Volusia Speedway Park. And those that know me know that I love dogs. And how you ended up with your dog, and that's one thing I love about the sprint car world as well. A lot of the apparel trailers, while they've got great merchandise, they also usually have dogs in the apparel. And your dog, Maggie, usually in there. But her name has a meaning behind it because of where you guys found her.
Yeah, so driving down the highway last year, going from Magnolia, Mississippi to Devil's Bowl, we found a little black lab, and coming from Magnolia, we named her Maggie. So there's always kind of a cool story behind a lot of these dogs here. They're either rescues or have some kind of a cool story, but on the road, man, you see a lot of animals and stuff, and most of the time you truck on by them, but that was one I couldn't leave on the side of the road.
And she's pretty dang cute, I'll tell you that much. If you get a chance to go over there and check her out, she's probably in the apparel trailer. Oh yeah, yep, and all the other dogs as well. So, last kind of question here. We get ready for a couple nights of racing. You had a phenomenal year last year. I mean, 4th in points, one of the, if not tying the highest rookie season year point standings that we've seen with some pretty accomplished names as well. How do you re-rack your expectations for this year? Are they the same? Do you feel like you can exceed those? Where do you guys stand on that, knowing the phenomenal year you guys had last year?
It's hard to say. I think 4th in points, when you look back, any time in a World of Outlaws season really means something, and to overlook that and just say, hey, I want to be better next year is kind of unfair. I feel like to how we did last year, and having a first full year as a crew chief with Adam Clark and having Aaron as well, and got a new car chief, like I said, but the same core group of guys, same organization. I think we can have something to truly build off last year. I think when you don't run for points, it's hard to kind of gauge your year other than how many races you won. Last year we only won 2 races, but we had a phenomenal year, I feel like, consistency-wise, and obviously you always want to run better, but I think with the changes in series and stuff, the whole outlook looks a lot different. There's really the strongest field of cars I've really ever seen at Volusia this year. So it's going to be tough no matter what, just to make the show. And like Sheldon was saying earlier, the surface is always different here, so it's hard to get grip in the racetrack as well. So they've raced, I think, 8 or 9 nights already on this racetrack. So we'll see. Watched the 360s there last week or 2 weeks ago whenever they ran, but very unique surface here, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's kind of elaborate on that for a second. What is it about Volusia besides that track surface that does make it difficult to grab onto, because of the fact that we don't go to a lot of racetracks down here in Florida? You start to move up into the Midwest, go up to Pennsylvania area. What is it that makes this such a tricky racetrack?
I've been here 4 different times and really had 4 different surfaces. The track record here, I believe, is a mid-12, and last night the fastest lap time, I think, was a high 13. So substantially slower than what the track record is than what it's been in the past. So makes it a lot harder to get grip and slide around race cars and stuff. So it is unique for sure. The shape is unique. Everything about this place is unique, and especially not racing in this region very often. A lot of the racetracks down here kind of have a sandy, gritty surface. So not something we're used to, but you get 4 nights to figure it out.
Now, a lot of money on the line here this year as far as even the overall points fund, but there's some big races out there as well, paying some pretty good chunks of change. You get to pick, and you hope that you win more than one, but you get to pick one that you're going to win this year. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. What race are you winning and where at?
Knoxville Nationals. They could pay $5 to win, and that's the one I want to win. So, living in Iowa, having a lot of, sponsors based around the Des Moines area, that's the crown jewel for all of them. None of the other ones really matter as much as that one do.
Well, again, Giovanni Scelzi taking it to the racetrack here this evening in his second year with the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. We're going to have Mike McKinney joining us here after the break here on the Sage Fruit Stage Show. Of course, he's already been on the track the last couple of nights in the UMP Modified, so he'll be joining us to talk about what to expect later on this week here after the break.
Perfection isn't easily achieved. It takes hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Through their commitment to excellence, Sage Fruit Company has been supplying customers with the best tree fruit in the Pacific Northwest for over 3 generations. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide consistent, high-quality apples and pears all year long. Look for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
There are a number of outcomes that we want students to achieve after they complete a career technical education program. One of the first outcomes is to have employability skills. We start as early as the elementary division where students are exposed. We allow students in the middle division to explore, and we want students in the senior division to practice. The opportunity to practice those skills throughout the course of their high school career is critical.
It's ARP fasteners for whatever you race. From 2 wheels to 4. Off-road, on-road, even water. From the flat track to the salt flats. Grassroots racers, weekend warriors, and pros alike trust ARP. Made in America quality, family owned and operated. When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com. No matter what you race.
Hold on tight to the checkered flag with our huge selection of high-quality titanium fasteners. Quality you can see, strength you can test. We use heat-treated, certified aerospace billet material that's stronger than grade 8 steel, and all of our parts are American-made with American metal, by racers, for racers. From micro, midget, sprint, and IndyCar to top fuel, tractor pull, and more. Visit our website to configure a custom bolt kit for your car, and we'll ship it to you in labeled bags. Smith Titanium. We winnovate.
One of the best, you got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws!
It's Florida in February. Beaches, palm trees, and 2 huge weeks of racing. Kick off 2024 with the Federated Auto Parts DIRTcar Nationals at Volusia Speedway Park. Sprint cars, late models, and modifieds at the world's fastest half mile. World of Outlaws Sprint Cars and DIRTcar UMP Modifieds February 5th through the 10th. World of Outlaws late models and Super DIRTcar Series Big Block Modifieds February 12th through the 17th. Plus food, fun, souvenirs, and more. Tickets and camping at DIRTcarNationals.com. February 5th to the 17th at Volusia Speedway Park.
Welcome back here to the Sage Fruit Stage Show at Volusia Speedway Park as part of DIRTcar Nationals. So thankful to have all the race fans that have made their way here. Man, we've got the campground already getting packed up, the fans making their way into the grandstand, as well as those that are tuning in with us at home on Dirt Vision. We definitely wish you could be here with us, but also thankful that you are tuning in and joining us. Mike McKinney, though, joining me here on the stage. You know, we've had Gio Scelzi, we've had Buddy Kofoid, so now it's time to throw a little modified mixture into things. You guys have already been on track 2 nights. You've already got 2 nights under your belt. Last night, though, not going the direction you wanted to. There was speculation that you guys had blown an engine, but that's not exactly what took place.
Yeah, so Been a good week so far. We brought a brand new car down here, and there the first night just kind of really weren't too worried about going fast. We're just trying to work all the bugs out, and had some things to fix there. And yeah, last night was looking pretty good. We set quick time in that sixth group, and we go straight to the features, and we're on the pole for that, and led the opening 10-12 laps, and felt like we kind of had it locked up, and then ended up breaking a fan, and that took the water pump with it, and didn't go up in smoke. It went up in steam. So a lot of people thought we blew up. My guy Spec Racing Engines called and was freaking out, but we're all good. So was kind of searching for this specific part we needed. Nobody down here had it, and made a Facebook post, which is something I typically don't do, and had 1,000 people, it seems like, reach out to try and help. So we got what we needed, and we're back in action today, and hopefully the rest of the week.
Listen, the power of social media. It can find even the strangest things when you need them, especially at a racetrack. The feature events throughout this week, it's not a normal format where you see just practice, qualifying, heat races, and then two LCQs and a feature. It's split up, but those features are only 20 laps. How do you kind of balance your level of aggression there versus patience? Because in some cases, 20 laps is almost an elongated heat race. How do you balance that aggression versus patience there?
Yeah, it really just comes down to that qualifying lap. We don't get any hot laps. We go out there and try and go as fast as we can right off the bat. So that obviously lines you up for your feature because you're not getting that heat race to try and advance your spot. So those 3 laps we get right out of the gate are the most important laps of the night and set you up. So we laid down a good one last night and started on the pole and did everything right. Just weren't able to wrap it up. So got a few more nights here left to try and get us my first gator.
Again, Mike McKinney joining us here on the Sage Fruit Stage Show. The DIRTcar UMP modified drivers really are the true Ironmen of DIRTcar Nationals. It starts on Monday, goes all the way into Saturday. I know late models next week technically go Monday through Saturday as well, but it's split between DIRTcar and World of Outlaw Case Construction late models. Before we even get into the technical side of it, mentally, as a driver, how difficult is it to maintain throughout that week, especially when you have a night like last night? You've got to re-rack and do this again for another, 4 nights.
Yeah, it's tough. Most of us mod guys, we don't come with a paid crew or anything like that. I'm just here with me and my 60-year-old dad. He's down there busting his ass for me. So yeah, it's we work all day. I'm still not done. I gotta go back and get a few tires done. So yeah, we work all day and then go get in this car and drive 100 miles per hour around here. So we're here with 115 best mods in the country. This is the toughest modified field we see all year. Everybody here is from all over the country, and this is the one time of the year we're all able to meet for a week and race. So yeah, this is one of the tougher events of the year, and the modified classes kind of looked past a little bit. We're tucked down there in the gator pond, and some of us might be a little rough around the edges, but man, the races have been really good, and I know a lot of these guys are here to see the sprint car guys, but we're putting on some good races, and hopefully we're entertaining everybody here.
A lot of big personalities down there in the gator pond area as well.
Yeah, there's a guy coming up here in a few minutes who's probably the king of that. So if you don't know him, you'll know him here soon.
Yeah, it's a good segue. Kenny Wallace joining us after Mike McKinney here. I think I'm honestly just going to hand him my microphone. Yeah. I don't even know that I'm going to have to prompt him with a question. He's basically a trained professional.
It's not his first rodeo, that's for sure. He'll take it.
You can usually hear him too when you go down to the pit area. You don't even have to know where he's pitted. You can hear Kenny.
If you hear somebody laughing, it's probably Kenny Wallace. So.
Oh, we're looking forward to talking to him. But we talked about the mental aspect of how tough this is. But talk about the equipment as well. There are often times where you'll race 3 nights in a row, maybe 4 on a long weekend. But 5-6 nights in a row like this, it is difficult on equipment. What is the maintenance process like between each night for you guys and your team, especially with you having a smaller team?
Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's everything we, like you said, doing a 2-3 day weekend. Now we're cramming it into a 7-day week. So it's a lot of work. It's tough on motors. It's a big half mile. We're not out of the gas much. You've already seen guys blow motors up this week. I obviously had a problem last night that we had to fix today. Then just our typical stuff. A lot of tire work. Seems like kind of since they put this new dirt on here, the tire wear's been a lot easier, which is nice. So I've kind of ran the same 4 tires all week, which has been good. So yeah, we're going fast on around this place. So just your general maintenance we do everywhere else. But yeah, the biggest thing is just doing it for 7 days straight. It takes a lot of work and a lot of help if you have. It's nice. Like I said, it's just me and my dad. So we're kind of working nonstop, and then go out there and race, and never really get to go up to see kind of what races are going on. We're kind of working from the time we get here to the time we leave. So at the end of the day, it's a fun event though, and we're glad to be here and have a really good time. And it's like 20 degrees back home, so it's hard to beat this.
Yeah, I was gonna say the weather here is much warmer than most of the places we all come from. So let's talk about that. Where you come from? You are in the heart of basically dirt car modified racing, right in the Midwest in Illinois. And when the season really starts to kick off, when most of the snow actually melts from where you guys are all from, it gets busy out there. There's a chance to go race almost every single night come summer. What would you say, having now been in it quite a few years, having your own accolades in it, the health of modified racing is right now, especially the competitive level as well that you're racing with on a weekly basis once, Summer Nationals comes around?
Yeah, no, it's really good, especially this year. I live right outside of Chicago, so right there in Illinois, and Illinois is where everybody travels to come race. We do all the Summer National stuff there. There's a lot of big shows with the Mars Series that's putting up a lot of money. Then, this year we have a $20,000 win at Fairbury, a $15,000 win at Spoon River, which are two tracks right in my backyard that I'm at all the time. So I'm very fortunate to be located where I am. I really don't have to go too far and kind of let everybody travel to us. And there's so many great local tracks out there that average 20 to 30 cars a night that are all at the top of that UMP national point list. So everybody goes to Indiana to race non-wing sprint cars. Kind of Illinois is where you go to run stock cars. So very fortunate. That's kind of where I learned. I've learned from a lot of great guys over the years, and like to feel like there's probably some people learning after me now. So it's been a fun ride, and just want to come down here and get my first Gator for sure. That's kind of all I'm thinking about. So hopefully we can wrap that up this week.
What was that transition like of being the young kid? And I feel like your name is a name where I think we're close to the same age, but I'm like, oh, he's one of the kids in the field. But you're really not anymore. There are some young kids out there, Charlie Mefford being one of them. What was that transition like? And was it a aha moment that went off when you were like, whoa, people are asking me for advice? I'm mentoring people. I'm no longer the kid in the field.
Yeah, it sucks. I started doing this deal when I was 16, and I'm 30 now. I still look like I'm 20, but I don't know. I was racing against all the older guys and kind of looking at, hey, if I could, I race with Lance Dame all the time, who's number one on the win list at Fairbury. I'm number 2, and I always looked up to him like, man, if I could beat that guy or run right with him, it's a good night, And now I'm the oldest guy at the racetrack all the time. So I'm racing with all these 16-year-old kids, and they're kind of trying to chase me down. So I kind of miss having like Mike Harrison's like the last older guy left that I kind of see every now and again. But so it's cool to kind of have some of those younger kids look up to me and kind of be the guy that they want to be able to compete with, and they do it more often than not. So I'm getting older, still got a lot of years left, and really enjoy doing this stuff.
There will be people that'll make fun of us for this, but 30 is when you take your nap on the couch and you don't wake up feeling refreshed. Your neck hurts.
Oh, I've taken a few naps this week, and it's been rough getting up. So getting old sucks.
You talk about Fairbury having that second-time all-time win list. You've had a lot of success. You've got a pretty stacked resume, but going into this year, where can people watch you race, and what are your expectations? What are you wanting to run? What are you wanting to win this year? What's the one that you haven't checked off your list yet?
Yeah, really, our goal this year is we want to win that UMP national title. I've ran second now 3 times. We ran second last year, and that's really the main reason why we came down here, was just trying to get a head start on the year. So we run plenty of races that are live on Dirt Vision, with the Summer Nationals, and we're always a support class with the Outlaws at the Prairie Dirt Classic. So we really just run the biggest money shows there is for UMP. We kind of do all the big dirt car national races. The what do we call this deal? The dirt car nationals here in February. We'll do the summer nationals and the fall nationals at the end of the year. So we run all the biggest dirt car races in the country, and kind of try and chase all the biggest shows. Like I said, a lot of them are right there close to the house. So that's the goal this year, is to try and win that national title. Like I said, I've ran second 3 times now, so I'd really like to cross that one off the list. And a lot of big money shows this year at some of my best racetracks. So if I could cash in on some of those, that'd be huge.
So there's a lot of people that are joining us here on the racetrack property that are, sprint car fans. They follow sprint cars, and you'd mentioned it's still kind of in the Midwest-based area, but usually we actually have the UMP Modifieds with us on the late model side. Talk a little bit about the personalities and the camaraderie in the modified pit area, because there are a lot of guys in the pit area that have been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
And even yourself, you mentioned it, well over 10 years. But talk about some of the personalities, because it is a really fun group of guys, both on the racetrack, off the racetrack. There are people that are kind of still doing this for a living, but it really is kind of a blue-collar aspect of a traveling sport. The travel is there, the requirements are there, but it's still kind of the blue-collar aspect of racing.
No, for sure. It's a working class for sure. There's some of us out there that are fortunate to do it at a really high level and try and take the next step to late model or something like that. But 98% of the people down there, have a job Monday through Friday and come and just try and do this for fun. So it's amazing that we can get 115 of us to take off work or whatever it is to make time to come down here and race throughout the year. So a lot of those guys back there, the same guys I race with every week 20 hours away from here back home, we just all decided, hey, let's go drive 20 hours and race each other down in Florida. So it's a really good group. There's typically not a ton of drama. Last night a lot of people I broke, and guys I've had run-ins with in the past were the first ones at my trailer to offer me any part I needed. So it's a good group, and like I said, that's there's no drama or anything like that, and it's a good group of guys to race with for sure.
And I think that's something that a lot of people don't get to see that are on the grandstand side of things, is that teamwork mentality that you had mentioned. When you guys break something, that guy, you're racing with him the next night, if not later that night. And it's incredible to see that you guys really all do, even though your competitors, work together back there to help get each other on the racetrack.
Yeah, no, we're all here trying to do the same thing, right? We all want to race, and everybody knows we're all far from home. And everybody thought I blew up last night and had 3 separate people, come down. Hey, I got a motor here. I'm like, I'm good. I appreciate it. But it's awesome that you have those people, and we always try and do the same for everything else, for everybody else. So like I said, everybody here's really good to deal with. Most of us all know each other because we all race with each other all year long. So that's what we need in this sport to keep the next guy going. For this week to the next day, or throughout the summer to the next day or next track. So it's a great group to be around for sure.
And we'd heard Buddy Kofoid and Gio talk about it a little bit. Last question for you, because I know you're getting ready to go back and do tires, so we'll let you get back there to do that. The tire wear has been, what they've said, significantly lower than I think you guys have anticipated as well. Why do you think that is, and how does that actually help you guys as teams as well when you're coming down here, running so many nights, and maybe helping that budgetarily as well to not have to run as much tire wear?
Yeah, it's been a lot easier on me for sure. They put new dirt on here a couple years ago, and it's just it's not as abrasive as it used to be. We used to have kind of some black gumbo dirt similar to what we had back home that was super abrasive and would kind of be hard on tires. And this is more of a real sandy dirt and just doesn't seem to be as abrasive. So I've literally ran the same 4 tires minus a harder right rear we had in the feature all week, and I'm gonna run them again today. So so it's I brought heck of a lot of tires down here, and we'll be bringing a lot of ones back that are still good to go. So no complaints there, and just hats off to Volusia in general. It's track's been really good all week and been really smooth, so that's been the biggest thing. And not sure how different it'll be with the sprint cars actually racing a full program today, but they got all the best equipment here in the country, and I'm sure we'll have a great track like we've had so far this whole week.
And plenty more racing to come all week long. And we'll let Mike McKinney get back to cutting some tires back there, getting things going. Of course, DIRTcar, UMP modified drive. We're going to take a quick break here on the Sage Fruit Stage Show. But we've got Mr. Personality joining us here after the break, Kenny Wallace. You know him. He's racing here this weekend. He will join me after we take this quick break.
How'd I do?
Great if you're not looking at the clock.
Sure you got that? I had to be faster than that, right?
100% NOS, zero sugar coating. New NOS, zero sugar. Get after it.
I watched my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy, let's get you up to speed.
Lunchtime.
Your workspace is ready. Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
I bought this truck with 124,000 miles on it. It had a loud lifter tick on a cold startup. I added half a can of Seafoam motor treatment to the oil and drove 800 miles. Then after a fresh oil change, I added another half can, and the lifter noise was gone. I am really amazed at how well Seafoam worked.
To find out more about Seafoam products and how they can help your engine run better and last longer, go to seafoamworks.com.
Perfection isn't easily achieved. It takes hard work, dedication, and perseverance. Through their commitment to excellence, Sage Fruit Company has been supplying customers with the best tree fruit in the Pacific Northwest for over 3 generations. They work hard on the farm, in the packing facilities, and with their retail partners to provide consistent, high-quality apples and pears all year long. Look for Sage Fruit at your local grocer.
Welcome back here to the Sage Fruit Stage Show, right off of the front stretch behind the grandstands here at Volusia Speedway Park. So thankful to have all the fans joining us here on property, getting ready to make their way into the grandstands. Hot laps, of course, coming up here soon. The World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars kicking off their 2024 season. Of course, the DIRTcar UMP Modifieds, well, they've been here. They've got 2 nights under their belt and a driver that's also got 2 nights under his belt. Kenny Wallace joining me now here on the Sage Fruit Stage Show. What a night last night. Had a great run, back down here racing DIRTcar Nationals. Are you, first and foremost, I already know the answer to this. Are you having fun?
I'm having the time of my life. And first of all, I want to say, I've done TV my whole life, and you're really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, that's hard to do an intro, and you just killed it just then. But yes, I'm having the time of my life. Getting a little older and don't feel like getting my own equipment all ready to go and driving through Atlanta, 17 hours, I'll arrive and then I'll be wore out.
Yeah.
So, Nick Hoffman, his father built my motors when I first started racing. We put a deal together and Nick was the one that called me. He says, you got to be here next year. I said, you fill me a car. So Jeg sponsors the car, and of course there's the other really good sponsors on there. So, it's going real good. We run 3rd the first night, 2nd last night, and we just got to qualify better to give ourselves a better chance to win.
You talk about that exhaustion. For the first time ever, I drove down here and took a camper down here.
Yeah.
And it took me all of 8.5 hours, which should have been a 7.5 hour drive. And I was white knuckled. My hands hurt from driving down here with the trailer. I was exhausted yesterday, so I know how that goes.
Well, you know what? There is a point that this is a young man's game. When you look at some of these big dirt late model teams, any of them, you realize, when they showed on social media, like, whether it's, Rocket, Mark Richards, and he shows, those guys, what they got going on. And I'm like, well, it's just me. I'm loading my car up by myself, which I like it that way. You get to Atlanta, you leave St. Louis, you get to Atlanta, and my eyes start burning. Everybody's wrecking all around you, and we're not to Florida yet.
Yeah.
So, I said, okay, I'm gonna yell uncle, and I'm gonna run about 30 races around home, and it's worked out really well. We won a lot last year, won the Missouri-Illinois Regional Championship, and that's what I really needed. Was I didn't want to totally quit, and I didn't know that I could race less, because I'm a hardcore racer.
You think you got to race every single night?
Yeah, so we went from 76 races down to 30, and that we did it. It was good.
The sweet spot. Well, of course, Kenny Wallace joining us here on the Sage Fruit Stage Show, and fans joining us here as well. So you'd mentioned it, running the house car for Elite. Nick Hoffman built it, put it together, and essentially is kind of playing the car owner crew chief role. And, you know, we're familiar with Nick Hoffman with Pitbull, the show him and I have together, but also on the World of Outlaw Case Construction late models. So we know him as a driver.
Yeah.
How is he as a crew chief? What's that dynamic like?
I have a benefit because Nick and I really respect each other, first and foremost. Like I said, his dad built my motors before Nick was born. So 1986, I was running an ASA, and Daryl Hoffman's building my motors. I came down here in 2012, and I won like 3 of 7. But the Gator, this little kid named Nick Hoffman won it. And I'm like, who is that? Oh, that's my boy. I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's where the history started. So to answer your question is, we really respect each other. And I respect him so much that when I get out of the car, I said, okay, look, here's what the car's doing. Now, mind you, I own one of these cars, and I chassis my own stuff. But I don't like to overstep my boundaries with Nick, because he's much smarter than me, knows his race car. And it's funny because when we debriefed the last 2 nights, he's like, yeah, when you gave it more throttle, it wheelied up more. I'm like, exactly. So he's in the car with me. And he keeps getting it better and better for me every night. And we just got to get it tamed down a little bit. It's pulling the wheelies too big. And here at Volusia, you only want to do that really when it's really slippery. And he's the king at that. So, but once again, you know, third the first night, second. I think we won the most improved driver. We started 7th last night, got to 2nd. And they gave me $100. And they gave it to Nick. I said, just keep it.
That's some beer money right there.
That's right.
Well, so those 20-lap feature events, you'd mentioned it, you know, got mover of the race there. That's not a lot of time to make those moves. So how do you balance that aggression, trying to make your way forward? And obviously you hope that you start a little bit farther forward by capitalizing on qualifying. But how just difficult is that, knowing you got to race 5 more nights, so you don't want to damage the car, but, you know, we're doing overall Gator points. There's a points fund at the end of this, and of course you know, you want to end up in victory lane.
Well, that is really a good question, and here's why. Because I grew up racing asphalt. 200-lap ASA races.
Oh, yes, that's what I come from.
500-mile NASCAR races. And, you know, the great Dick Trickle taught me you must first finish to finish first. So the first time that I really went at it really wide open was one of the Bud shootouts down here. Rusty won, I finished 2nd, you know. I took that mentality, I turned it into dirt racing. And dirt racing's kind of nervy because you don't wait for nothing. You know, I mean, it's no different than these World of Outlaws sprint cars. You know, Tony Stewart once told me that heat races are won on the start and through turns 1 and 2. So when we run this modified, it's kind of the same thing. You don't take it easy the first corner. You get everything you can get, because that's usually where you're going to get it. And you're right, you got to balance it out that we're here, you know, we're running 6-7 nights in a row. You want to take care of your equipment. So it's a fine line, it really is. And but I go as hard as I can go, but yet calculated right. You know, I might not be able to make it there, but last night, you know, we went 3 wide, had the crowd on their feet, but I had to, you know, because you don't know who's behind you. So that's dirt racing.
So what was it about the, you know, UMP modifieds that drew you to them? Because, you know, in the Midwest, that's kind of where you're in the hotbed of modified racing, but there are late model classes out there. There are sprint cars, and you'd mentioned it yourself. You come from an asphalt background. So what was that process like of landing in a dirt modified and then being like, you know what, this is for me now?
I feel like I've spent 15 years reminding everybody that I started in dirt super late models. Tony Stewart invited me to the 2005 Prelude to the Dream, and I drove a Rayburn car, CJ Rayburn. I'm there, Tony Stewart, Kenny Schrader, the dude, Lasowski, you know, Bill Elliott. You know, Bill Elliott's a good dirt racer. So we won. And Tony Stewart comes to Victory Lane. He looks at me and goes, what was that all about? And I said, I don't know. Maybe I should have been a dirt racer. So CJ Rayburn gives me that big yellow Jegs super late model. And we went to, where did we go? To Cleveland, Tennessee. We won. And I was spending like too much money, and I thought, what am I doing? And Kenny Schrader was preparing the car for me. And I said, CJ, take the dirt late model back. I might as well go run the Busch Grand National Series. And I found the modifieds because, I was in the middle of my cup career. I wasn't starting a dirt career.
Right.
I was wanting to do it. So we got rid of the dirt super late model. We still got die cast out of it out there. But it was really the 2005 Prelude to the Dream, winning that, and then winning Cleveland against Ronnie Johnson. And I just really like the mods. They fit my pocketbook, and you can just race your brains out in the Midwest. I mean, when it's, this from the Summer Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
June, July, we can race 7 days a week, and we really can. We've done it. So I think my record was like 8 nights in a row. And I just really like the mods from that perspective. I don't care about the money because you don't make money doing this anyway. You got to get sponsors.
Right.
Right? You don't go racing. I don't come down and go, man, they're paying $1,000 to win every night.
I need that money to get home. Yeah.
So the modified fits my pocketbook, and I really like it.
Yeah, and that Summer National schedule, too, that's intimidating. I remember every year we print it out, and I look at it, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of races. And you look at the start date and the end date, and you're like, that's not a lot of time between point A and point B. So it's a great opportunity for fans to, see the midweek racing. You guys get a ton of racing in that time. But I kind of want to branch over to something that I talked to Buddy Kofoid. He was on the stage show a little bit earlier, part of the Toyota development program.
Yep.
And something that they really emphasize is some of their pavement drivers dabbling in dirt racing, whether it's micros, trying to put them in some aspect of dirt racing. And you having really played both of those, what is it about dirt racing that articulates a skill set in drivers that is so beneficial?
So when I started racing late, I started racing at 22 years old. I was a NASCAR Cup crew chief in 1984 for Joe Ruttman in the Levi Garrett car. And I went right to asphalt. And when the car would get loose, it would scare me. And I wished I would have started on dirt, but I knew I needed to go to asphalt because I really wanted to make it to NASCAR. And now, when I look back on it, the reason you run dirt and you go back and forth, so in asphalt racing, the car's got to be perfect, and the best car wins 9 times out of 10. But if the car doesn't do what you want it to do, you can learn how to drive it loose and maintain your position. And that's when the dirt racers really shine. And we saw Ryan Newman come in, we saw Kenny Schrader, Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, and there was a year where Matt Kenseth come in, and then we saw the open wheel midget guys come in, whether it was Christopher Bell. But I really think the dirt guys got an advantage because they can learn if an asphalt car is not handling properly, they can keep it going until you can get to the next pit stop and not get lapped. They can make time.
Yeah, it's definitely incredible to watch some of those guys. Chase Briscoe is another one that comes to mind of watching him on some of these racetracks, and you watch the car step out, and you'd never know. He's right back into it compared to someone who's not comfortable with that feeling. You got the chance to go last year to Super Dirt Week.
Yeah.
And ran, or 2 years ago to Super Dirt Week, ran one of the pro stocks there. You keep finding yourselves at these racetracks that are 6-7 days long, have an incredible camping atmosphere.
Yeah.
The race fans are there. Is it the 6-7 nights of racing, or is it the atmosphere that kind of keeps bringing you to these events?
When I say this, I'm dead honest. I love the people.
Can you honest? What? Never.
Well, sometimes the reason I said I'm honest is because sometimes, I had don't let me get off track here, but I had John Force on Kenny Conversation. And I said, John, what separates you from everybody mentally and physically? And he says, bullshit, just a lot of it. So sometimes I can be perceived, but one thing myself and John Force got in common is that we realize for me to race, I got to have sponsorship. So I went to Super Dirt Week because I could meet a whole new different set of fans. I ran Oswego in 1986 in ASA on asphalt, run 4th. Mark Martin won, Dick Trickle 2nd, Darrell Waltrip 3rd, I was 4th. Max's dad, Mike McLaughlin, was 5th. And I was invited. And I thought, you know what, pretty cool to go up to Super Dirt Week. I know it's not Syracuse, but the vibe, the Northeastern fans. Sometimes I feel like all you Northeastern fans, I feel like your weather's so bad. When you can get racing, you race. So the reason I go up there is because they love racing so much, but I get to race.
Yeah.
And those stock cars were so much fun. I run 4th in the big race. And it was a lot of fun. And that's the reason I do it, because I need to keep myself out there. I need to keep myself sharp. If I quit racing, as old as I am, I seize up. The more I race, the better I run.
I will say, I have been to Super Dirt Week, and it was incredible to see the race fans. I think we got snow one of the days that year, and it didn't stop them. The race fans were still hanging out. Drivers were out there working on their cars, and I'm like, I'm originally from Southern Idaho, and I am freezing right now. But they're used to it compared to the folks down here in Florida that are all bundled up. But actually, I'm bundled up too, but it's making me laugh at people in waders, and it's still 60 degrees outside.
There's so much to say about Super Dirt Week at Oswego, because 2 years ago, it rained 2 days. And I said, well, I'm going to go into Oswego. I'm going to go into the town. And the town buys into it with you all.
Yes.
And, the signs are on every street corner. And it's like, Oswego, Super Dirt Week, we're dirt racing. And we just don't get that love at a lot of tracks. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of dirt tracks we race at. You go a half a mile down the road to the gas station, and they're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, they're paying $100,000 to win. Oh, really? But when you go to Super Dirt Week, all you Northeastern fans, you stick out the 2 days of rain. And a shout out to the team, because they put 400 laps on that racetrack, on Monday? And we crowned a champion, and any other racetrack, they wouldn't have got that done. And knowing that asphalt's underneath there, the track was raceable, and it's a sight to behold. And then the campground is just a sea of people.
Yes.
And we drove in the golf cart. We went up and down, and it's freezing, but they don't care. They don't care, and they pack those grands. Yeah, the Northeast fans, I find, are truly the best fans in racing. My biggest fan base is from Loudon, New Hampshire. When we had our fan club, we had all our fans, like 70% were from the Northeast. They're rabid race fans because their weather's so shitty that when we can race, that's why they look at it.
They get excited. But fortunately, we've had beautiful weather down here in Florida thus far. The temperature actually expected to continue going up, so I'm looking forward to wearing some T-shirts down here. But Kenny, we got cars getting ready to get on the racetrack here shortly, so we're going to let you go. We're so glad to have you down here this weekend at DIRTcar Nationals. And hey, how cool would it be to end up in victory lane, with the Hoffman family?
We plan on winning. That's why we're here. We don't race. I said, I'm getting old, but if I drive slow, that's when I'm out. And last, I'm a big fan of yours because I did TV for so long. I like it that you put in the work, the Summer Nationals. I see you sweating your butt off, and you're awesome. So keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Again, guys, Kenny Wallace here on the Sage Fruit Stage Show. The World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars are getting ready to hit the racetrack here shortly for their first official night here of the 2024 campaign. And don't you worry, the DIRTcar UMP Modified drivers, they're ready for night 3 here at DIRTcar Nationals. I'm Hannah Newhouse here on the Sage Fruit Stage Show. We've got guests all week long here, every day from 4 to 5. Come join us out here if you're able to, behind the front stretch grandstands, as well as on Dirt Vision every evening.
All right. Good job.